Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing, bringing you a general reading for the week of Monday, August 14th through Sunday, August 20th. This is the week before the big eclipse that we are going to be experiencing on Monday, August 21st. So if you have not had a chance to check that out, I would recommend looking it up. There are tons of videos and articles and things out there. It's being referred to as the Great American Eclipse, but it's going to be stretching from one corner of the United States all the way to the opposite corner. So some great information online. Recommend you check that out. And if you are somewhere that you can be able to experience it, it would be a great opportunity. So that is going to not happen during this week of your reading, but it's the first day right after this reading completes, again on the 21st. So many thanks to everyone for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for commenting on them. I do try to get back and respond to as many of you as possible, but I do read all of your messages, even if I don't have a chance to respond to every single one of them. So I do appreciate your feedback, your comments. Please keep that coming. It does mean a lot to me to know that these readings are helping you because they do take a lot of time. You know, you're looking at, if just at an hour reading, the time of prepping the camera, getting everything set up, prepping, praying over the cards, and then uploading all that, you're looking at a good 2 or so hours for an hour video. So I am glad that they are helping you, and I do appreciate the feedback to know that they are assisting you with your journey. And we reached a huge milestone for everyone that's subscribers. We have finally hit 10,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. That is awesome. I am so excited. I did go ahead and randomly, now it took some work because when you go into YouTube, you can only see your subscribers back so far. Now, if you know your subscribers' names, you can look them up, but you can only see the list for so far. So it took a little bit of digging, a little bit of work, because I didn't want to just randomly select names from the last 2 months, but I was able to go clear back to when I first started the channel and randomly select 3 people who will be receiving free 15-minute readings. And congratulations to you. It would be Yolanda Perez, Nicole Porter, and Tooke. So I sent you messages. One I was able to send an actual message to you. The other 2 I was able to comment on some prior comments you guys had left like a year or so ago. So get back in touch with me and I will get you guys scheduled for your free readings. So let's go ahead and get started. I have prayed over the cards, shuffled them, asked that each of you receives at least 1 message. Thing to keep in mind, it is a reading for a large number of people. So you may find that indeed there's only 1 or 2 messages for you. And that's okay. Hopefully you'll find more. But I do ask when I prepare that each of you gets at least 1 message. So hopefully you will receive those. Now, for those of you that are interested in the cards that we're going to be using today, I have the Crystal Visions Tarot. Those are by Jennifer Galasso. Then I'm going to be at the end, I'm going to be pulling a card from Doreen Virtue's Angel Answers deck, as well as her Butterfly Oracle cards. And I've prayed over and shuffled the Sibylas and the Lenormands that we will use for clarifiers as we move our way through it. So and bottom of the deck. Oh wow. Okay, let's sit that there. Let me make sure you guys can see those. Okay, good. They're in there. Okay, let's see what is going on. Well, that's not pretty. It's not pretty, but the tower sitting right smack in the middle. The redeeming quality is we do have the Lovers on the bottom of the deck. So looking at these across, we have past, present, future. We have the Moon, the High Priestess, 9 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, the Tower, 5 of Wands, Page of Swords, the Emperor, and 4 of Cups. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Lovers. Now, there we go. So center of everything which would be, looked at as though, you're the main situation. What's really going on here is the Tower. And just looking at it, there are 4 major arcanas, and those are big things. They are life-changing, they're life lessons, they're huge, they're typically things that are fated, that are guided by the divine. You don't have as much control over those things as you do with the minors, or pips as you would call. So a lot of what's going on is, like with everything crumbling around right now, it's things that are, fated, destined. It's time for transition in your life. The time has come for the old to truly crumble apart, fall away, so that new can come in. And that's where many of you are finding yourselves right now. Now, the interesting thing, we only have 1 Cups card. And Cups are all about, emotions. We have only 1 card of actual action. Wands are all about action, fire, doing things, making things happen. Then we have being in our head. We've got Pentacles. Now, we do have 3 4s. We have 4 of Pentacles, 4 of the Emperor, and 4 of Cups. Now, 3 4s in a reading can be an indicator of, making a house move, or actually having to put in some physical work, doing something to, taking action to make something happen. It's also an indication that, life at this point is stagnant. Things are not moving forward. It can be speaking of, choosing to take the safe route, choosing safety, security over risk, excitement, new beginnings, stopping all of our personal growth and development, ceasing all of that. And also tied to the work. It's sometimes if there's work involved, people will stagnate. They won't make any moves. They won't do anything because they just don't want to put in the work. They don't actually have to do anything. Hence, they'll stagnate and be stuck. And that's where a number of you are at with this situation. They're saying there's not been any activity. There's not been any action. There's not been any movement forward, which is why things are divinely being, we'll say, shifted instead of crumbling. Now, starting with present, let's make sure she didn't shift the camera. Okay, good. We have the Moon. And the Moon is all about our subconscious, our psychic abilities, our intuition, our dreams. You can see she's standing in front of this arch. It's kind of like a portal, like the veil. And it's all about listening to that inner voice and reaching those higher levels of enlightenment and really seeing what's behind the veil, seeing really what's the truth. Because the moon, things are hidden in shadow with the moon. We don't really get the full truth. Things aren't completely illuminated. It's not the sun. And you also see on the card, there's the different cycles of the moon above her head. Speaking of, different cycles of each month, the phases of the moon, our emotions. We can go through different phases of our emotions. And they're often directed by our subconscious, what's going on beneath the surface that we're not necessarily aware of. But in order to change those cycles, we have to face our fears. We have to face them head on in order to overcome them and have a new cycle. And you see, she's standing, she has a wolf on each side. She has these butterflies. So for some of you in the past, they have been trying to change a cycle that kept reoccurring. They kept trying to do transformation. For some of you, the cycle that they were trying to change was based off of, because wolves, those are more about our wild side, our natural side, our bit of our darker side. And there was a cycle that they were trying to change, trying to shift. They're also saying trying to stop like see behind the veil, to see what's truly going on, and to stop those cycles, those behaviors. Now, the next card is the High Priestess. You see here, she's also surrounded by butterflies. And this is all about, you know, mystery and things that are hidden, things that are unknown, our intuition. Really, you know, the High Priestess, she can help bring calm. She can calm us down. She can also bring us some deeper understanding and clarity, can bring us to the truth by tapping into that inner wisdom, that inner knowing. And she's even standing on like a crescent moon, a half moon. It's all about, you know, things that aren't seen, tapping into our psychic abilities, our intuition. And butterflies, they symbol, you know, rebirth, new beginnings, transformation. So in the past, they've been trying to bring about transformation and change for a number of you. Some of you have had a lot of intuitive knowing, a lot of intuitive insight, a lot of intuitive breakthroughs, and also like spiritual awakening, spiritual growth. And it has helped transform things for you positively. Now, some of you, they're saying like you received a lot of intuitive, you did go through awakening, you received a lot of intuitive information, a lot of aha and epiphanies and information, but there's no action after you look. When you look, you've got the four. The fours are all in the present and the future. So you receive the intuitive information, because they're saying for a number of you, they've been trying to stop a cycle to bring you to something new. You've received all the signs, all the information, you know what to do, you know the path that you should be going on, you know where they're guiding you to go, but you're not taking any action. It's like you've just stalled out. You're not doing anything. And these are both major arcanas. So this information that they're trying to give you, this cycle that they're trying to break, these things that they're trying to end, are going to greatly improve your life. Now the other card is the Nine of Pentacles. And you see she's standing there and she's got tiger, she's got hummingbird, she's got a little flamingo. This card, it actually represents someone that's very refined, they're self-sufficient, you know, they're very, you know, she's very comfortable in her own skin. She's comfortable with her surroundings, she's comfortable with who she is. She's built a life that she's visualized that is beautiful. She's standing in a beautiful garden. The trees have a lot of peaches on them. Like they're saying, life is peachy for her. Life is very peachy for her because she has created this. She's been able to manifest this. She's very fulfilled. She's very content. And you have the tame tiger. You have the peacock beside her. It's all about, you know, grace. She has grace, affluence, refinement. You see there's also like this light shining down over her. Actually, of all the cards, if you look at all the cards, they're all very dark and shadowy. But this one's very bright. You have a flourishing garden. Everything's filled with life. Everything's filled with light. She even has the light shining down on her. And hummingbirds they're all about, you know, they go after the sweet nectar in the flowers. They're all about, you know, seeking what's very sweet, the sweetest things, you know, lifting ourselves up out of negativity, bringing ourselves to a state of love and joy, reminding us to seek happiness, to seek joy, to seek contentment, to seek fulfillment. They also speak of resiliency, because, you know, hummingbirds, they can go for miles and miles and miles just fluttering about, not taking a break. She's very resilient. Now, these two cards together, the Moon and the High Priestess, they can be an indicator of big secrets, you know, huge things that are hidden, mysteries. They can speak of deceit, things that have been hidden on purpose, like someone has intentionally not told us something. They've intentionally kept something hidden from us. But because they're also both about intuition, you knew that that person was hiding things from you. You knew that things were not forthright and honest. You knew the truth, even though that person was purposefully not telling you the truth. Now, because they're saying for those of you in this situation, your intuition is very strong, and they've given you a lot of signs and information. So there was a lot of deception in the past, but you knew that. Now, as far as the present, we have Four of Pentacles. And if you see her, she's on this tree, and she is clutching her coin. She's got a hand or foot over every single one of them. And this is all about, you know, wanting to maintain control, wanting to maintain our possessions, not wanting to lose our money, you know, because she's all focused on that. She's all about her prosperity, the things that she's worked very hard for. It can also speak of smugness, like, you know, this is Pentacles. There's no love. It's coins, it's crystals, it's money, but that's the focus. You know, she's not willing to share that. She's totally wrapped around it. That is her focus. That is what she cares about. That is what she wants to protect. And she won't do anything to risk losing that. Not taking a risk. Now okay. The next card is the Tower. And you see you've got this tower, you got waves crashing up all around it, you've got lightning bolts hitting it on the side, crumbling it down. This card is really all about disaster, upheaval, you know, reversing our fortune, you know, a striking revelation, huge shifts, huge changes, huge reverses, you know, the foundation in which we have built things crumbling down. But coming down in order to open up new opportunities. It's also about, you know, changing our perception, like drastic changes in our perception, because we truly see the truth, but it takes something monumental to make us lose money, to make things truly shift, to make us really see things how they are and accept things like they are. Because they're saying for some of you, you've known the truth, but you have refused to see the truth. You have refused, you have stagnated, you have not taken any action on the truth. They have tried to bring you to blessings, they've tried to bring you fortune. You have ignored it, you have turned your back on it. For some of you, it could be love that you turned your back on because instead you wanted money. But in order to change those things, things are crumbling down. So for some of you, you are experiencing a loss in money because you go from 9 Pentacles to 4 Pentacles. So for some of you, it could be a job loss. For some of you, it could be going through divorce proceedings, having to split up your assets. It could be, you know, splitting up a business, splitting up property, splitting up investments. And because of that, there's a lot of arguments. You know, this is the only card of action in this entire spread. And it's 5 of Wands. And this really is all about conflict, argument, struggles, competition, really being at each other's throats. You see these 3 men fighting. You have the 2 lions fighting. But they're all trying to intimidate each other, particularly the men. They're, you know, the lions, they're showing their teeth. They don't have their wands. They're thrown on the ground. But they're each one trying to one up the other person. They're each trying to step into that alpha position. They're each trying to have control. They're trying to be in charge. They're trying to win. Now, they're not harming each other. They're not, as long as they haven't eaten each other, nor have they eaten the men, but it's a lot of conflict, argument, battles, and it's just not ceasing. So for some of you, it is like you are going through a breakup, through a divorce, breakup business. But there's a lot of contention, a lot of arguments. You're trying to salvage what's yours. Because this was where you currently are. Now, as far as for the future, you have Page of Swords. And, the Page of Swords, it's someone that's a communicator. It's all about messages, but it's someone that's, it's a forceful communicator. It's aggressive communication. It also speaks about, our will. Because, although she's young, she's learned to be just, be forthright. She knows how to deliver the communications in a just fashion, although in a swift fashion. She's very sharp. She's intelligent. She can solve problems. She can resolve conflict rapidly. Even in very turbulent, difficult, challenging situations, she's calm, she's cool, she's collected, and she's ready to very quickly solve things, stop things, bring things to a conclusion that's like a win-win for everyone. Now the next card is the Emperor. And this is another major arcana. And the Emperor, he's very structured. He's protective, authoritative. He is, the ultimate guardian, patriarch. In one hand, he's got the Ankh, and that's all about, everlasting life. In his stomach, by his solar plexus, he's got what appears to be the world, like, having the world at his hands. Everything that he desires is within reach, within grasp. And then he has this like crown on his head with the horns, but it's all about his being very sure of himself, being extremely intelligent. He's sure-footed, he's confident, he's capable, he's protecting his domain, he's protecting what is his, and he really does truly have the world at his hands. It's interesting because even in this card, it's like his hand is even resting above the world. So it's like it's right there, within his reach. Now the last card, and this is if you're new to tarot, this is the exit card. So they kind of go in order, and would be like the last of the future cards. And this card's all about indifference, boredom, apathy, being self-centered. It's also speaks about, introspection and withdrawing, going inward to really reflect and look at things. Because if you see, she's sitting there and she's staring at this one cup. And behind her, she has 3 other cups, but she's totally ignoring those. She's indifferent. Now, in traditional, actually in my gilded tarot that I like to use a lot, there's this picture of this guy, and he's sitting there, and he has, this one cup in front of him, but he's got his arms crossed in front of his chest because he just doesn't want it. He's being belligerent, like, I don't want what's being offered to me. I don't care how big and beautiful it is. I don't want it. I don't think it's good enough. But meanwhile, while he's turning away from it, there's these other like animals on the card, and they're all staring at this gift that he's ignoring, and they're all checking it out, and they all want this gift while he's got his back turned to it. He's not even acknowledging it as a gift. Now let's move these down. I'm going to pull one Lenormand on each one. And oh, those are okay. This is a card that's the overall energy. And we'll cover this one first. This is the Lovers. Now in this deck, it's all about, the Lovers are all about strong connection with someone else, a deep connection, an empathetic connection, an intuitive connection. It speaks of soulmates, divine loves. But you see the two people that are here, they're like wrapped up in like ribbon. These two doves that are suspended above them have like wound them up together, bound them together. And it's really signifying like a wedding ceremony where, the ties that bind in a marriage ceremony. And this card it's all about two people that are better, they're stronger, they're happier, they're more complete when they're together than when they're alone. Because it really is speaking of like a divine love. And doves, they mate for life. Okay. Now, okay, so what they're saying is even though this card's like, it is speaking of divine love, so it could be speaking of soulmates, it could be speaking of twin flames, twin souls, they're not together. You're not together. One has turned their back on the other. Even though you would be better together, you would be stronger, you would be happier, you would be a force to be reckoned with. You're not. Okay. Now, we have, and I'm not going to explain these in depth one at a time, I'll just give you additional information that's given for the reading with the other cards that's paired with. You have the heart, you have the ring, the flowers, bouquet. Now if we can get them to not slide around, that'd be good. Okay. Then you have the ship, the child, then you have the coffin, and then you have the whip, or sometimes it's called the birch or the rod, the scythe, and last, the fish. Okay. Let's see how this changes anything. Okay. So, interesting. They were saying earlier these two cards together are an indicator of secrets, things purposefully being hidden, deception, but already knowing about that deception. Some of you are being deceived by a spouse because the heart, it's about emotions, it's about love. The ring is about, commitment, marriage. So for some of you, you were receiving wisdom, insight regarding your marriage, regarding the commitment that you had with someone. But again, it was information that you were receiving intuitively, and you were not wanting to accept that. You were not wanting to acknowledge that. And many of you, it was because of fear, fear-based thinking. Because the heart paired with the moon, it's all about really facing our fears regarding love. Listening to that intuition about our, emotions, our feelings, our, feeling that love and that connection with someone, but intuitively we're getting something else. So for some, you were in a marriage where you were intuitively getting information. It could have been that the person was having an affair, stepping out, but because you had fears about breaking that cycle, because remember they were saying that earlier that they've been trying to get you to break a cycle, to end a cycle, to stop your wild wolf-like desires They're saying for some of you, they were trying to get you to see through the veil, to see the truth, to see that it wasn't founded on true love. But a number of you had a lot of fears regarding that. Fears of being alone, fears of divorce, fears of breaking up, fears of also some of you losing money, losing what your image would be to other people. Because for some of you, you stayed in a loveless marriage because of how others would perceive you. And for some of you, it was also to keep other family members happy. Almost like they were counting on you. Now it's interesting because the flowers, the bouquet, that's an indicator of, you know, something that's beautiful, something that is a gift that warms our heart. So for some of you, this is actually speaking about two different women. So for some it could be that you were in a loveless marriage or commitment, that the person was lying, deceiving, cheating, not telling you, not sharing things with you. The person could have been, because I'm getting for most of you in this situation, there's two people. For some, there's a third person. But this person that you were committed to, and change the sexes accordingly. If this sounds like it's your story, go with it, change it accordingly. Because I know that, you know, there are some of you that'll be like, no, that sounds like the guy I've been with, or that sounds like my ex-husband or my ex-wife, or some of you are same sex. I know there's different, everyone has a little bit of a different story, but if it sounds like it's your story, just change the sexes. But for some of you, you had a wife, ex-girlfriend, partner. You were intuitively getting information about a whole bunch of lies, deception. You knew something was wrong. You knew something was off, but you ignored it. You chose not to ignore it. You chose not to pay attention to that. You repeatedly kept going in circles because they keep talking about the cycle that they kept trying to break you free of. You kept going in circles with this person, not allowing yourself to break free, which is what they have repeatedly tried to do with you. Some of you, you thought, oh, this is love of a lifetime. This is great. This is going to work, but it didn't. It's not meant to. Now, for some of you, they actually brought someone new into your life, and that's that Nine of Pentacles person. That was, for some of you, they brought in this gift. But you didn't want it. And for some of you, you're not with either. They're both standing on their own. They're both alone. The only couple we have is here. Now, as far as current, you have the ship. That's all about, you know, travel, journey, movement, moving forward. You know, them battling, it's all about trying to prove who's the alpha, trying to have control, be in control. So for some of you, this is about fighting over control with your ex. So you and her are fighting over who's going to be in control, who's going to get what. They're trying to bring an end to those battles because some of you are having some heated arguments right now. They're trying to move you forward. Some of you are so worried about losing income because for some of you, this is a divorce that you're going through. And some of you may be this week finding out some information regarding your assets being split in half, or maybe just under half. Because again, you go from 9 to 4 Pentacles. And that's making you very combative. Some of you, they're trying to get you to stop fighting and battling to be in control. And for some of you, it's also they're saying they're trying to get you to stop being so selfish. Not to make that sound bad, but not to make that sound bad, but they're saying selfish with your heart. So for some of you, see how she's got like her arms totally clutched around this tree tight. Some of you, you totally have your heart closed off. And it's because like selfishness, not wanting to share. It's almost like you want to like a dichotomy. It's like you want to be on your own. You don't want to have to share with a spouse, with a partner. But at the same time, that's what you want. Which doesn't make any sense. But many of you, you are trying so hard to be in control. You are trying so hard to maintain, because they're saying for some of you to maintain rigidly, like, this is what I do, this is what I've always done, this is what we're going to continue to do. They're trying to get you to stop that. They're trying to get you to move forward from that. They're trying to get you to travel away from that. Now, for some of you, this X, because it is money, it's focused on money, it's about money. So for some of you, the X, she's really worried about money. Because now, you guys are having a whole bunch of arguments. You are having some really ugly conversations. Some of you are like not even having conversations anymore because it was so ugly. You've actually taken a time out, a break. But she's now so worried about money that for some of you, she's trying to talk you into having another try, a new beginning. Because the child, this, could represent a child, but it's, for most of you, it's talking about a new beginning, a new start. But it's with the Tower, and then it ends with the Death card, the Coffin card, the ending, the completion. So for some of you, they're saying for some of you, you're trying to, because you refuse to change. Because again, remember, they were saying they've been trying to end this cycle for a very long time, but you have stubbornly held on, not wanted to move forward into something new. But for some, it's either you or them is trying to have a new beginning. And in the recent past, you did try to have a new beginning. But that new beginning's ending. They're trying to stop that. Now, for some of you, because again, you have all these 4s down here, it's all about stagnation. So for some of you, you started heading down the road of separation, divorce, breaking things up. So you decided to... Some of you tried to have a new beginning with someone else. That's coming to an end as well. Because again, they're breaking down your entire structure in order to bring in new. You see how this is like the tower of like a castle, but it's almost like most of the castle's already fallen into the water. Only the tower remains. But over here you have this whole castle. They're trying to break down the old to bring in new. This is the core focus of the situation. But a lot of you are just fighting it. You're fighting it. You're fighting so hard to be in control. You're fighting so hard not to have this ending. But why? Because it's very ugly. Because for some of you, this relationship, it's just been founded on like animalistic natures, like sexual natures. It's been founded on money. What can you do for me? It hasn't been founded on true love. If you look here, these two aren't even a couple. The Emperor, yes, he has the Ankh. Yes, she has the Ankh too. Oh, that's interesting. So does this. Okay. So he has a staff with the Ankh on top. That is in the Egyptian, it was their symbol for the cross. She has a staff with an Ankh. Now she almost has like the world suspended at the end of the staff. He has the world within his hands. So for some of you, this person that you were with, it was like they were always keeping you away from having the world, from having everything that you wanted. There were a lot of promises, a lot of empty promises. So for a number of you, I get that you were the Emperor, you were making her empty promises, or she was making you empty promises, but it's like she's leaning the world back. It's out of reach. But in the future, he has it within reach. But the interesting thing is, they both have an Ankh. It's holding the Ankh. They're trying to bring a completion and end to that. It's time to end that. It's time to end that chapter. End that period of your life. in that era, in that time frame. It's time to have the death of that, the ending of that, the conclusion of that. But they're not a couple. The couple with the emperor would be the empress, not the high priestess. They are not a couple. It may appear, because they both have an ankh, it may have felt like, because for those of you in the situation, that person, when you met her, it just felt like, oh, this is the one. This is the one. I'm going to hook my trailer up to her. And oh man, there's nothing that's going to get in the way of that. But you weren't meant to be together long term. God and the divine angels, they have tried to repeatedly end this. And they're at the pivotal point where they're trying to end it again, and you're just not wanting to let it go. But something is about to transpire that will make it end. Okay. That's interesting. You know, they're not a couple. These two are not a couple. The lovers, the emperor, the empress, she looks like her, like the woman in the, let me see if I can find her real quick. Ah, there she is. So the empress, these two are a couple. They're a couple. And you see, he has the world within reach. She's the world. And you see, she's also pregnant. It's signifying giving birth to new life. She's even holding a heart on her staff, giving birth to love, to life, to joy. Her crown is illuminated. Her hair is illuminated. Now, for some of you, if you're interested in signs, this person could be an earth sign, because the high priestess, it's Virgo. So they could be, Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. The emperor could be. Don't take the signs to the bank. I'm just throwing them out because I know sometimes you guys are interested in signs, and they're telling me to throw out the signs for some of you. The emperor would be a fire sign. So Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. The empress would be a water sign. So, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. But these two are a couple, the emperor and the empress. And she looks like her, and she looks like her. So the empress is the gift. For some of you, the empress is the gift that you've turned your back on. See if you can look at all these cards. Hopefully you guys can see them without a glare. She is the same throughout all of them. Throughout all of them. Peacock. That's what they're saying. In the Sibilos, there's a card that has a peacock on it. And that card is all about, tact, irritability, not having tact, being, doing something rashly. Some of you abruptly, without tact, cut your empress out of your life. Because then, these two are not a couple. These two are a couple. He's a couple with the empress. I don't even know where I threw her. Threw her back there in the deck. But you have the peacock, and actually she has peacock feathers in her hair. It's almost like some of you, for most of you, this is focused around the man, the emperor. The reason it's focused around the emperor is because you have not made the changes you've been guided to. That is why this whole thing is swirling. You have been stagnant. You have stagnated. You have done nothing to deal with it. You have turned your back on it. You ignored it. That is why they're coming in with the tower. But what you did, some of you, because again, for some, it could just be two people. But for others of you, for a number of you, there there's a third woman. She's your empress. But what you did is like the Sibila card. You know, you have the peacock here. She's got these peacock feathers in her hair. You abruptly, without any tact, in a hurtful, arrogant, hurtful manner, turned your back on her. But what she did is she just picked up those peacock feathers, tucked them away in her hair, and found her happy. Because again, if you look at this card, it's illuminated. It's the only card of all of them it's beautiful. It's filled with light. It's filled with life. You know, everything's blooming. Everything's filled with life. You've got the hummingbirds. It's all about joy. Everything's tame, happy, calm, peaceful, filled with serenity. You know, peaches are super sweet. Who doesn't like to bite into a juicy, yummy peach? And hummingbirds, they seek the sweetest nectar. But you turned your back. And the flowers represent a gift that will warm your heart. You received a divine gift, but you turned your back on the divine gift. Some of you turned your back on the divine gift, you ended it, and you started giving your attention such to someone else. So for some of you, you even brought a third woman into the mix. But they're saying for some of you that brought a third person in, there's false promises and false empty words of love, false promises that you're even making to this person. Because there's no action here. So for some of you that had this divine gift that was the love of a lifetime, because again, this is the overall energy. You have this divine love. The two are better together, are meant to be together, will find all the happiness that world that's within his reach he would have with her. But he turns his back on it. They're not together. And fish is all about resources. It could be money, it could be time. But for some of you received this gift, this divine love. You ended it. You started giving your attention, your efforts to someone else, to something else. Now, what's interesting, because in the future row, we have the whip. This is all about anger, repetition, you know, cracking the whip. You know, if we really need to get our act together, someone will crack the whip on us and make us get our act together. And this is all about communications coming in. For most, communications coming in from a distance that are going to push you forward to resolve the issues, to solve these problems, to end this conflict, to allow the tower to come down. For some of you, it's also going to rapidly be coming in to force a change to allow you to stop holding on and also stop blocking your heart from true love. Because in order to get this, the Emperor, you know, you have the scythe. The scythe, it's quick, it's sharp, it hurts. It'll cut, like if there was, Lenormands, they play off of what is, you know, to the right of them, what's to the left of them. The scythe can often cut through things that are BS, can get you some clarity, but you've already received the clarity. You already know what you need to do. You're just not doing anything. You're refusing to do anything. But some communication, something is going to come in that's going to crack the whip on you. Some communications, it's going to inspire you, motivate you to come up with a solution, a resolution. Wrap this up. Close this chapter. In order to do that, the Emperor is going to need to cut out these other things that he's focused on. Now again, the fish, they're representative of resources, money, time. It's interesting. Okay. So for some of you, you know, they were saying some of you brought in like a third person. You're giving all your time, all your effort to that person, but it still really doesn't hold any meaning for you. See, because like she's bored. She's just really not interested. But she'll just keep playing with the lotus flower because there's nothing else there. She doesn't really want to turn around and really accept the true gifts and things that are behind her. So she'll just keep playing with that. So for some, in the future, you'll be cutting out that third party. For some of you that it was only 2 people, you could be cutting out that second person. For some of you, they're also saying it, cutting out drinking, because this is like a big cup. So for some of you, you've been battling, you could be battling alcoholism. You could just be drinking because that's part of what keeps you from having to deal with anything. So since you know you need to deal with these things, you don't, because for some of you it does require like getting involved with the courts, hiring attorneys. You just don't want to deal with it. You don't want to lose money. So what you do is you just throw yourself into drinking as an avoidance tactic. So they'll try to get you to cut that out, to stop that. Because to become the emperor, to grasp the world that's within your reach, you have to cut out the drinking. You have to cut out the third person or second person. But for most of you, the thing that you also have to cut out to become the emperor, to step into your power, to step into being confident, you're going to have to cut out, because again, this is all about turning your back on something. Turning your back on something because you didn't think it was good enough. Turning your back on something because you thought there was something better. Because again, she has these 3 cups behind her. Some of you are with seeing the truth and seeing how things are turning, you regret turning your back on that. Or if you don't regret it yet, they're saying in the near future, because for some of you, there are some things that are either just transpiring or going to start transpiring this week or the next week that are really going to be giving you the motivation, the divine motivation to move forward and finally clear this stuff so you can get to something beautiful. They have something beautiful for you. But to get there, it's going to take some change. It's going to take some action. It's going to take some doing things. But as the pieces of the puzzle fall into place, some of you are you're going to be regretting turning your back on this gift. But you're going to have to cut out the melancholy. You're going to have to cut the things that you're focusing on that are keeping you from taking action, that are keeping you from repairing things. See how she has her back turned to these? Some of you are just ignoring it. You just refuse to take any action. You're going to have to cut out the inaction. You're going to have to cut out the ignoring and acting like there's no problem. Because for some of you, the reason that you're not there is because you had a gift. Because remember, it's like she's turning her back on a gift. This was the gift. She was the gift. Because some of you turned your back on the gift, she walked away. So for some of you, they're telling me, look at the card underneath the Lovers card. Because the overall energy is the Lovers. The Lovers aren't together. The Lover would be his Empress. For most, she's the Empress. But they're not together. For some of you, you are not together because you turned your back on her and she walked away. She's given up. She's given up hope. Because this card, you see she's got her back turned. She's walking out of the water. Water represents emotions. She was engrossed in the emotions. She was actually immersed in the emotions. She was swimming around in those waters. She felt this love. She felt this deep connection. But he didn't return it. Instead, he returned it for someone else. Instead, he tried to have a new beginning with someone else. For some, he tried to have a new beginning with an ex and a third person. But he turned his back on her. Because this card's all about, sadness, abandoning our plans, abandoning a relationship, being tired, being weary of how things are going, and just leaving the past behind in order to find something more fulfilling, something that will fill our emotional cup. Because her cup wasn't being filled. So she went to go where she could have her cup filled. let's pull 3 quick Sabilas on the lovers, and then we'll pull your final Doreen Virtue cards. So let's let's move this deck so we can have these lay flat. Okay, so we have the Lamante, and this is the male lover. We have the El Nemico, and this is, it's the enemy, it's the rival, it's resentment, it's also like hatred, concealed hatred. You know, see how sly he is, he's just sneaking away. And then you have the Grand Signore. And this is, you know, it's the great lord. It's the man of high society. See, he's like dressed in all this finery. You see how he has a feather in his hat? She too has a feather in her hat. Although she has a peacock feather in her hair. Two birds of a feather flock together. Okay. And this is to clarify the lovers. Because again, this is the overall energy. The overall energy, this is a divine love. This is a meant to be love. This is a love that would bring both of them complete happiness, contentment, joy, bring them all the things that they desire. It would bring the emperor of the world that he has his hand hovering above. It's that kind of love. It's what we all seek. It's what we all desire. It's there within his fingertips. But they're not together. And that's the overall energy. The reason they're not together is because he's not doing anything. Because he's afraid. Because he's fearful. Because he's ignoring it. Because he doesn't think that she's a gift. He doesn't think that she's good enough. But deep down, he knows differently. He's starting to see the truth and realize that. But they're not together. The reason they're not together, the male lover, he's singing, he's serenading, but no one's there. He's by himself. He could have this true love, but he's running away from true love. So for some, he's running away from true love. He could have this true love, but he's robbing himself of it because of how he will look. He wants to be the great lord. He wants to be the man on high society. He wants everyone to look at him. And for some, it's arrogance. You know, they were talking about arrogance again earlier because that peacocks. In the Sabilas, if you find the peacock, it's all about, and it's the male peacock because the males are all colorful. They're way more colorful than the ladies because they have to attract them. But it's arrogance. And you see how he's like standing in a very arrogant stance. So you are running away from love. You are robbing yourself of love. For image, for arrogance. And the reason they're saying is because for some of you, she is not your normal type. She's different than your normal type. She's not your normal type. Could be careers different. Could be, I mean, if you're looking at twin flames, so for many of you, this is a twin flame situation. I'm trying to find the Empress again. Where did I put her? So when you're dealing with twins, twin flames, twin souls, either way. Twins are the same soul. They truly are each other's other half. When it comes to twins, the divine feminine, she will awaken before the masculine. And similar to the situation that the masculine's in, once her life starts to transform, which it already has. So for those of you that this is a twin situation, she already went through the divine coming in a tower, knocking everything that she held dear, everything that she valued, everything that she placed her value in and on was all crumbled down. God did that. The divine did that. Angels came in. They all came in and did that because they were trying to get her to something new, something beautiful, something that she's destined for. And she had no control. She didn't want it. She didn't ask for it. It just happened. But what happens with twins, did I put it on the very, of course I put it on the very bottom. But what happens with twins is there's this spiritual awakening. So the things she used to enjoy, she doesn't enjoy it any longer. She's now, many divine feminine are now into more spiritual life paths, more spiritually based careers. Totally different than what they ever did. You can look at me. I've been in the military for 20 years. That's what I've always done. Very good in communications. Now I'm doing spiritual work, and as I'm transitioning from retirement into doing this, love it. Very rewarding. I love being able to help people, give guidance, give insight. It is so rewarding to assist. It's also to be able to help with healing sessions. It's just remarkable, and it's humbling. It's humbling that God is able to use me in such a way. But I'm not special. He does that with hundreds and thousands of divine feminine that are out there. But these aren't changes that we wanted. We didn't ask for this. And a lot of us, we did exactly like the masculine. We fought it. We didn't want it. We're like, no, I didn't ask for this. I don't want this. Take it back. And we were in the same situation where we fought and fought and fought and fought and fought. But eventually we gave in. And when we gave in, things became beautiful. Things became peaceful. That's when we were able to step into our garden. That's where everything was peaceful and fulfilling us. And just life is juicy and yummy and blissful again. We're at that blissful state. We don't have our other half. That's the only part that's missing. But those of you that are divine masculine, that you are turning away from her because you're like, oh, well, she's kind of weird. She's kind of spiritual. She's into these things. The core why a number of you are fighting it is because you too are going through your spiritual awakening. Part of why you're rejecting and pushing her away is because she's already fully awakened. She is the picture of what you're heading toward. You don't want to open up to that. And it also is a little bit harder for the masculine because you have to, as you go through this, opening up to your intuition. That's a very emotional thing, to open up your emotions. And many of you have been totally closed off emotionally. But this awakening, the seeing the truth, the having things that you used to know and value all crumbling down around you, it's based off of spirituality. It's totally new. It's totally different. But you're fighting it because you're like, I don't like that. I don't want that. That was not my plan. So those of you ladies that are out there, I know some of you, when you watched the twin flame message that I posted, it was kind of heartbreaking to think, okay, well, he doesn't want me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't value me. Also change your perspective of things. He's not rejecting you and the connection. You are a divine connection. You are the couple. You are the lovers that are not together. What he's fighting is at the core everything that's occurring at this point. Just like you did. You fought it too. Look back. So for many of you, this started 5, 4. They're saying some of you it was even like, even 3 or 2 years ago. And some of you could have been longer. But when it came in, it just happened. You had no control. Everything was crumbling around. You were fighting it. You didn't know where you belonged. You weren't happy. But like it or not, the endings came. He's going through that now. So don't think it's a personal rejection of you. It's a rejection because everything he's ever known, like this circle that he's gone in, it's falling apart. It's crumbling. It's not serving him. But just as you did, he's fighting it because he doesn't want the change. No one likes change. Humans, we're like creatures of habit. Like you go to the restaurant and you order the exact same meal all the time. No matter how boring it is, you always get the exact same thing. And to step out of your norm, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. That's it's a little too much. But just try it. Just dip your toe in it. Because if you go to a restaurant, you just dip your toe in a little bit. You're like, okay, well, I won't get a whole new meal, but I will try this appetizer that sounds yummy and succulent and delicious. But once you've dipped your toe and you tried a new appetizer and it left you so fulfilled, and you're like, that was amazing. Well, then you go back to the restaurant the next time. You're like, you know what? I am diving all in today. I'm going to try a new entree and I'm going to try a new appetizer. But it's just trying things out differently. That's what he's fighting. He doesn't want to do things differently. And for those of you that are the masculine that are listening, because a number of you are, which is why a lot of these messages are geared toward you lately, the sooner you stop fighting it, the sooner your life will become happy. The sooner your life will become, I mean, look at this. This is 9 of Pentacles. This is complete fulfillment. Money, joy, happiness. You'll also have the love of a lifetime. Because when you look at her here, she has everything except for love. She doesn't have the cup. No one's offered, she hasn't had the cup offered. But if you can overcome your fear and do something, get yourself out of the stagnation that you are in. Because for some of you, you have been stuck in this stagnation avoidance. They're saying for some of you since like last fall. So for some of you, it's been like a year. A year of stagnation. And for some of you, it really started to ramp up around the holidays, the beginning of the year. But instead of going with the flow, instead of allowing the chapter to close so that you can come into a new beautiful beginning, into bliss and happiness, you have fought it. And if you sit back and take a look at it, take away the emotions, take away the emotional stuff too, because a lot of you are still so afraid of opening up to true love and opening up to emotion and the connection. You want that, but you're terrified of doing that. But remove that angle. Look at your life the past 8 months to 12 months. It's been nothing but chaos and heartache, and everything one after another goes wrong. Just when you think it can't get worse, it does. If you would like things to improve, open yourself up to the gift that the divine is offering you. God's offering you a gift, not just in love, but in total fulfillment. Which is why you're bombarded by signs left and right. Why you can't, they're saying for a number of you, they're actually giving you a lot of information in your dreams. They're giving you physical signs. You're getting signs in songs. They're beating you down. Not beating, well, you feel like you're being beat down because you're still fighting it. But they're hitting you nonstop with signs. Nonstop. Because they're trying to free you of this. They're trying to get you to somewhere happier, something blissful. And when you can surrender and you can allow those changes to happen, that's when things will get better. That's when things will get better. Now, real quick, I'm going to pull one of her. Oh, that's funny. So from Doreen Virtue's Butterfly, we have End of an Era. And let me think of a question. If there's something that you did not have answered in this reading, go think of your question real quick. And success. Give me a second. I will pull the books and read these real quick. Okay. End of an Era. Like chapters in a book, life has eras that begin and end. You drew this card because the cycle of beginnings and endings is touching you right now. It's important to be very gentle with yourself during times of change. Think of the butterfly in the cocoon, dormant in preparation for a rebirth with wings. You're in a similar state right now. So please practice daily self-care and don't feel guilty about saying no to extra activities so that you can rest, heal, and prepare for the next era ahead. Additional meanings are take time to grieve over losses and transitions, make plans for what you wish to do next, and then seek help from a counselor or support group. And for those of you that are twins, energy healers, go see an energy healer. Could be a shaman, could be a Reiki master, could be a quantum touch practitioner, whomever you feel guided to go to. Find them, seek their assistance, and they will help you. Because for a lot of you, this this vicious cycle you were on, it's tied to a karmic cycle, that there was a lesson you were to learn with that person, something that you were to release karmically from the past that you need to free yourself from. An energy healer will help you with that. And then we have success. One page over. Okay. Congratulations, you're on the road to success. You needn't have any reservations about your situation, as it's going to work out beautifully. Part of living a successful life is taking care of yourself. It's wonderful to have many things to be grateful for, but make sure you don't wear yourself down by working too hard. Take time to enjoy peace in your life. So I hope that helps all of you. And as we come into these intense energies with the eclipse, I do hope that it helps you with your transitions. And I wish you all an amazing week filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings. You hear that? Even the dogs can tell that I'm wrapping up, and we're going to go for a little walk outside. Enjoy. Have an amazing week.